I'm Cole,
I'm Tabby.
I'm Grace.
and this adventure brings us to our BTB. From the last episode, you can tell that we're ghost hunters. We're from our campus, or from the club on our campus. What you're looking at now is one of the buildings on our campus. It's the second floor of the BTB. BTB stands for Business and Technology Building. This audio that you're fixing to hear was captured November 9th, 2019. It was captured about a year ago, and we have it looped. And this is why we went back for a couple more times. So we'll let you listen to that real quick. So with that, we decided to go back again and figure out, okay, what could have caused this noise? Because that very sounds much like a
Baby
a
cry.
baby, yeah. So what you see is kind of flashing shadow. We slowed it down right here. In that ring, you'll see this kind of shadow that seems to like grow and shrink in and out of existence as it moves down this hallway. From there, we went back again. And we started our investigation in this room. You won't see us in this one. In this room, you'll see us in the next clip. That's kind of down the hallway where we caught that shadow.
Here's the freeze.
No, more.
So in that last one, you can kind of hear something like breathe heavily and then say, hey. And then in this one,
Okay. What is it?
sounded mildly like flutes were going. So here you'll see kind of us. We have these recordings sped up because we didn't want to give you 2 hours of unfiltered footage.
Of us just walking around.
Yeah. So instead what we did is we sped this one up just so that way you can kind of see what we do. This is where we're setting up for our investigation to start over here. Eventually I didn't like where that light was placed, but we're fixing to see our first orb that kind of comes out of the hallway right there, follows kind of along with the windows of the left-hand doors, and then it follows them down and then disappears into that hallway that the flashlight keeps flashing into. So that's in a couple seconds, but
and like that hallway we captured like throughout the times that we've been back a lot. Like example, a door throbbing. Like sounds weird, but throbbing.
so based on the quizzical look that Tabby is giving us, what happened was with this door is actually part of that clip that we showed you earlier of that shadow. Before that shadow appears, the door seems to shrink and grow in dimensions as well. Yeah,
Weird.
it was really weird. It would just shrink and grow in dimensions. We didn't understand like exactly what was going on with it, and then the shadow appears and disappears a couple of times, and then
Just disappeared?
And
And
then
it just stopped?
it just stopped.
And it took
That's
us
so
like a few
weird.
times watching that video over and over and over again to finally like realize, oh, that door's moving.
Yeah.
Which is, doors don't do that.
No. And next up, we're fixing to hear something that we captured on our spirit box. So this is where Bailey was missing with it. Yeah, I mean, you know Bailey from earlier, but... So what we find really interesting about this recording specifically, that spirit box recording, is that as I'm giving it to her, or to Bailey, who's, you can see in the corner, that's her face. What we found interesting about it was that as I'm giving it to her, it says 3 words over the course of, 50 to 70 channels?
Yeah.
Something along the lines of ask about Rob.
Rob was this guy that we keep encountering over and over and over again, it feels like. And he kind of hangs out in our main hall girls' bathroom. And we know that he's interested in blondes and he just has a bad backstory.
But what's really interesting about this specific spirit box encounter was that it's the only one we got of this night. The other thing that's really interesting is that the BTB and main hall are both completely separate buildings. So there should be no reason why we're getting this spirit box, someone telling us ask about Rob.
Especially since he's never been in the BTB before.
Exactly. We've never encountered him in the BTB. We've never encountered something that knew about him in the BTB. That's what made that very interesting.
Yeah.
The next recording that's coming up is one that we don't know what it is. It sounds like it's a very deep baritone, I want you. We'll leave that to kind of your imagination. What we find really interesting about that one is that it's a very deep voice that I know I can't get that deep. Apparently, I don't think that Bailey, Tappy, or Grace can get that deep. It'd be amazing if they could.
I sure could try.
But that was the really weird thing of that one specifically, is that just kind of came through. It wasn't any of us talking, and it sounded very far away. Here in a couple seconds, you're also going to see our second orb that it kind of looks like it kind of floats down from the ceiling, disappears in this little hallway right there, and then it goes right in front of the door. And then this next one is going to be a recording of What's really weird about that one is that it very sounds much like there's like a weird kind of music coming through that happens at the same time that these two orbs are flying over here, but that recording is in from another area. So we've got this orb right here that like really zooms in, slows down, and then zooms down that hallway again. These orbs that we capture are either going down that hallway or coming out of that hallway.
It's as if like something or someone is walking back and forth between the hallway, and it wouldn't be the first time that kind of happened with an investigation here, because Cole has asked down the hallway, can you say a word, and then on the other side it said that word.
Yeah. That was a really interesting find too. I wish I could have put that into this video, but yeah, I came over onto this side and was like, had a couple devices running on the other side of the building, and I asked, can you make one of the devices over there say April? And I chose April just because it was a random word to choose to say. Wouldn't think that the two girls who were down there would be able to even think about it. And so what's really interesting is that the spirit box actually does say April on the other side of the building, right as I'm asking that question. So right here, what you see them is they're taking pictures or trying to take pictures. Tabby's phone.
It like glitched out. It wouldn't let me take any pictures of what we were trying to take pictures of.
And so I gave her my phone. It's like, here, try my phone and see if that'll work. And it eventually did. And we have both of those pictures right at the end for you, because it's something weird shows up in the second one.
And I'm sitting over by myself. You don't really see me in the video. Just kind of like hanging out.
So, for most of the night right here, we didn't really get much except this flashlight that's flashing right here. This flashlight is a push button flashlight, and the batteries were brand new, so there's no reason why it should be flashing. We thought that that was kind of weird, kind of electrical disturbance, and it's right where I'm sitting with the two K2 meters. I eventually got up and just left my flashlight, and it started flashing, and then after a bit, it stops. So we're just like, okay. Then we took the flashlight away. This is right where we're fixing to. We're like, okay, well, we've had enough. We haven't seen anything, and for us, it's been about 3-4 minutes. And we're like, you know what? We're gonna try moving to a different part of the building, but we're gonna leave the cameras. And so we're fixing to get up and turn on the lights and stuff like that and just head to a different part of the building. And that was an interesting when we headed to different parts of the building. So
originally we went down the stairs that you can't see and went down into the basement area.
yeah, the stairs are right behind where I set the camera, because the camera's on a little banister there. So throughout most of that time, we were just downstairs. We never left the building, and it's too early in the night for security guards to be getting there. And this next clip that it's fixing to go to, when it clips to where we are not, we get what sounds like a vehicle trying to turn over. And it sounds really, really odd, because it sounds like it turns over after a moment, and then it doesn't. And turns off again.
We're on the second floor, which is where we
Yeah.
caught the recording.
So, like I said, we're up on the second floor of the building. Just down, so that doorway that's behind me, there's a hallway that's about 60 feet long, maybe farther, that leads to where that other camera was placed and where that camera is recording. And that's where we got on both the camera audio and the EVP audio. That's where we got that. Now, we know that these ones right here, you're going to see like those 6 or 7 what looks like light anomalies, those are actually dust. That was how we were able to tell what was dust, because they followed our flow out and down the stairs. The other ones, however, when they move in and out, they're going every
Multiple
which
different
way.
directions, yeah.
Yeah, multiple different directions, whereas those ones seem to follow almost the same pattern. However, that one right there seems to float up and then make a U-turn and then just go straight down. We don't know what could have caused that. Currently, the air conditioning and stuff like that is shut down in this building because it is nighttime. There's no one using the building. And then, not even a few seconds later, another one appears to just kind of slowly come flying in off screen, and then it disappears into the door, or right next to the door, possibly going through the wall right there in that office. We know these aren't bugs because we're actually fixing to point out what a bug looks like when they flash in, or when they fly in. They kind of blink really, really fast, and then this one actually lands on the chair, so we can see it land on the chair and kind of crawl up the chair. This was definitely a Miller bug, and that comes in right about here. So, I mean, there was a lot of interesting things that night. Unfortunately, we didn't have any recording equipment with us when we went downstairs. But when we did go downstairs, we had a lot of knocking.
There was a lot of like weird sounds that we were getting.
Yeah, and at one point, Bailey looked like she got slapped.
Yeah,
just
she had a
didn't-
huge handprint just across her face.
And she didn't feel it until after we left the threshold of what would be the basement, And then we got up the stairs, and then she's like, my face burns. And we're like, well, yeah.
You look like you've been. We did. Yeah, we told her you look like you've been physically smacked. And then as soon as we said that, it started to fade. So with these pictures, in picture 1, you're gonna see kind of me and my hands holding onto the 2K2 meters. I'm resting my hands on my knees. So in this one, you don't really see much except for the 2K2 meters, but notice that they're both at max light. We hardly ever get this. In this picture, however, we decided to turn on a light and take a picture. And it looks like a face appears in between the 2 lights in this kind of misty form. And that about concludes our adventure for the night. So thank you for watching.